Hi, I'm Ian Brown, Managing Director of Excelpoint, and you're listening to On Point. For those of you who haven't heard of Excelpoint, we're a global leader in the development of innovative no-code software technology. We help businesses all around the world update their business processes, overcome business challenges, automate workflows, and streamline their processes, increasing efficiency and productivity. We do this by implementing innovative, automated, and highly flexible, adaptable no-code software that is typically 10 times faster than bespoke software development, whilst we retain the flexibility and ability to change and adapt quickly as the company grows and evolves. Today, I'm joined by one of our very own, Oliver Warren. Prior to joining Excelpoint, Oliver worked for the Royal Air Force Police. He'd been a tech director in a family business, and he'd worked for a number of digital agencies, so he had experience of the digital sector. Oliver, welcome.
Cheers, Ian.
An interesting moment.
Yeah.
And you're fully relaxed and ready to go.
Absolutely, 100% relaxed right now, yeah.
Good. So we first met, you were acting as an external technical consultant.
That's right, yeah.
And came to view our technology with a view to, I'll say, assessing it. Mm-hmm. And at the end of that meeting, I seem to remember you wanted to come and work for us and described it as, so you sell unicorn tiers.
Yeah. You see, I funnily, I remember it slightly differently. You offering me a job, actually, but yes, you're right.
Offering a job?
Yeah.
In the first meeting, I find that difficult to believe.
Oh, well, yeah.
I suppose talent shines through. So, seeing as you were so talented, you first tried sales.
I did, yeah. That was a departure from the comfort
then
zone.
Tried consultancy.
I did, yeah.
You're a member of the development team.
I am.
And latterly, you're now a member of our senior leadership team.
I am, yeah.
So clearly, we haven't quite found where you fit yet.
Yeah.
So seriously, what attracted you to Excelpoint from a technology or a company point of view, for that matter?
Well, during that first meeting when you were doing that demonstration, obviously I knew nothing about the company at that point, and I was there consulting for the business that I used to be the IT director for, and during that time with that business, as with a lot of small businesses, and I'm sure a lot of IT directors can relate to the pain that I'm about to describe. Every year on year, we were spending tens of thousands of pounds on software that wasn't quite fit for purpose. It was like 80% fit, and then we were having to find workarounds for parts of the process in the business for certain little niche areas, and it was a real pain, a very expensive pain. And during that meeting, I sort of sat down without any expectation of what you were going to show, and totally got it straight away. And within the first 10 minutes, I was thinking to myself, if only I'd seen this like 18 months ago, like when we were having all of these problems. And I was totally sold on it. And as I remember it, and you might have a different perception, but I seem to remember sitting there and telling the managing director of the company that I was helping, like, oh, in your warehouse you can do this, and in the office you can do this, and that problem you've got, you could do this. And I seem to remember, yourself sort of sitting there with a sly grin on your face. And he gets what we do. And it was that really, like, I remember walking out of that meeting being really enthusiastic about, like, my brain whirring on all of the applications, all of the problems that this thing could solve.
Yeah. So you like the technology, joined. Now that you've been with us for something like 3 years now.
3 and a bit years, yeah.
3 and a bit years. So how have you found, in a variety of different roles, the work at Excelpoint or working for Excelpoint?
Well, there's 2 questions in one there. So the types of work I've been involved in has been varied. So in sales, when I was working in the sales world, that was interesting from the perspective of engaging with businesses and business leaders who were struggling with all the same problems that I'd encountered myself. And actually, that was a real driver for me, because it wasn't so much any of the typical motivators that salespeople get that drove me. It was fixing those problems. You know, seeing the look on somebody's face when I described how easily we can fix these, what they perceive to be really big issues, and then watching the light bulb go off in their head and go, oh man, like we could do all sorts of stuff with this, you know. We can, and then looking at the consultancy side, when I moved into that world, that was then the more detail of how do we fix that problem physically. Well, I say physically, but you know what I mean. The bits and bytes of how we put that together and make that work. And again, very varied, albeit lots of the same problems. So the biggest thing I've taken away from those two roles in particular was that regardless of the size of the business, the industry of the business, they all have similar problems. So certainly as a consultant or as a in the sales world, you can extract a lot of experience from lots of different areas and apply that experience in other areas, if that makes sense. Lots of lessons to learn and lots of education to give out to the world. And then moving into the development world, that's a challenge in itself, because unlike traditional development, you write a piece of functionality for a particular purpose. Everything we do is generic. It's got to apply to a lot of different configuration.
So you're what you're saying is the deliverable that you're producing as a developer is abstracted away from an immediate business need. You're producing some generic capability that can be applied to many different business challenges. So I guess being part of a professional development team has become an interesting set of new ways of thinking and new disciplines and so on.
A lot of out of the box thinking, that's for sure. Because you know, with development, you draw on your experience and you look at things that you've built in the past and how you've achieved solutions to problems in the past, and not all of those are directly applicable to the way that we build the platform. So you've got to think outside the box.
What about the people at Excelpoint? Your experience of just working with a whole different set of people right across the board.
Yeah, people are great.
People are great
in general. I
didn't know if there was a veiled undercurrent. But people are great.
People are great.
That's a developer.
No, I think generally the team at Excelpoint are very, very professional. And the thing that struck me the most really is that we've got a young team. You know, we've got a lot of young guys that work certainly in the delivery team, and they really shine through. Their level of professionalism for people who are such a young age, and their ability to comprehend fairly, high level business problems is pretty astounding at times. They're very, very good at what they do. I think the team is friendly. It's great. The environment we're in is brilliant. You know, we work hard, play hard sort of attitude, which being ex-military, I really, really like. So.
I'll throw axes at you anytime.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm sure you would. Yeah.
Reference to recent axe throwing. One of the things, just touching on the team and their ability and young team and so forth, one of the things I like to think that we do well, but it's very easy for somebody in a senior position to think this is going well, but it isn't really. I like to think that at every single level of the business, from the brand new apprentice that walks through the door and is green, probably hasn't even been in a job previously, maybe come straight from school, everybody has something to offer. Mm-hmm. Their views will be listened to, their skills will be embraced, their strengths will be strengthened and their weaknesses eradicated. So it is very much about embracing the individual person, giving them an opportunity to shine. And I have to say, succeed or fail, because when you are given that opportunity, you can fail at things. The Americans have a nice phrase, which is you're not a businessman until you've failed 3 times. So do you think we do that well, or do you think that's a difficult balance to achieve?
I think so. I think because of the nature of the work that we do, we collaborate a lot amongst ourselves, but also with customers. And everybody brings different experience to the table, and everybody brings a different viewpoint to the table, and we need that because there's no one way to solve a challenge. And even the youngest guy might have experience of, well, this time I worked wherever, or when I was at school, we did this process, and there might just be a little gem in that.
Yep.
When we're trying to solve a unique business problem, we might think, that's a really good idea. Let's explore that.
Yeah.
So I think we're good at fostering a culture where people can express those opinions, those views, and those ideas. And I've sort of always described it as it's a safe environment to fail in. So people can have a go at stuff. They're not going to get dragged across the coals for having a go and it failing. I think we do. I think generally we do all right with that.
Good. I think when it comes to promotion, you're an interesting candidate because you've been with us just over 3 years. You've moved around in different roles and had promotion quite regularly. I think for the record, I'd like to say that it isn't necessarily your skills and talents, although I think you've got an abundance of those. Attitude is massively important. That old business adage, hire for attitude, you can train the skills.
Yeah.
Massively important, and you come along with all the right attitude, can-do attitude, positive attitude, growth mentality, and so on. And I think although technical people can be pigeonholed as quite quiet, reserved, shy, sit in a darkened room and write code all day, I don't really think, I was going to say many, I don't think if there's any of our team that fit that model perfectly. Yes, they've got some typical, stereotypical traits to their personalities, but I don't think anybody's shy in coming forward and saying how things are.
No, I think we've got a good team. Generally quite a social team as well, which is good.
Speaking of social, just for the record, do you think we should have karaoke at this year's Christmas do?
I'll be honest with you, it very much depends on if you're going to dance. Because if you're going to dance, I'm tempted to cancel.
Right. Because I've had an email from a group of Russians
really?
asking us for karaoke competition.
Yeah, Russian PHP developers by any chance? Yeah.
So you have more of an insight into the company and our future plans, which we can't embellish too much today, but you've had 3 years of this journey so far. Mm-hmm. Are you excited by what's to come?
I am, absolutely, yeah. I think there's a lot of opportunity for everybody in the company. There's opportunity for the company to grow. I think the technology is getting better. I think the more we expand our reach and the more problems we can solve, the bigger we'll get, and that just brings great benefits and opportunities for everybody else in the company as well.
Interesting, you've touched on problems a few times so far, and 3 or 4 years ago we were doing some work with both Teesside University and Northumbria University. We were talking about recruiting developer, and they were asking us what skills and digging into what we do as a business. And their view was, well, actually, you're not so much software developers, you're problem solvers. You happen to solve problems with software.
Yeah.
So excellent mathematicians, excellent logic, doesn't have to come from the computer side of the university to fit into our model. And certainly on the consultancy team, that couldn't be more true.
Yeah.
The ability to solve problems and understand where maybe a hang-up is, a particular blockage, a particular barrier for a customer within a process, and be able to solve that and see the benefit is massive.
Yeah. And
I think also our consultancy team, they work with many different projects very quickly because our product is very quick. A consultant might work with, I'm going to say, 20 different customers in a year. So they see all of those different business scenarios. That grows the individuals very quickly as well. And I think you've seen a bit of that with people who've joined after yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's why I was alluding to earlier the younger members of the team having an outstanding level of professionalism and their understanding of business process. And it's very much that. They work with a lot of different businesses in a lot of different sectors, solving lots of challenges.
I had forgotten that you're not one of the younger members of the team now.
I might be just a shade falling into the upper category of the younger members of the team.
Of the elderly members of the younger members of the team.
Probably fair to say
something like that.
The upper younger members of the team. Let's go with that.
Yeah. So far we've had a totally internal perspective.
Yep.
But clearly somewhere in that mix comes customers. And I know customers can be the best thing since sliced bread, and they can also be challenging and difficult and so on. You'll have had the opportunity to work with quite a number of customers since joining. What do you see from a customer's perspective? Do you see that as enlightening because we solve their problems and they get that light bulb moment? Do you see it as frustrating because they don't actually get what technology can do for a business? And there'll be a variety across our customer base.
It's difficult. I think that the customers, the challenge that we have with customers is more, well, there's a few. So IT projects typically are not well rolled out, I would say, when you take a view across the market. I mean, it's maybe a controversial statement if any IT professionals are watching this.
I've been in this industry sector all of my working career, and as a generalisation, I would say probably true.
Yeah, and as a result of that, most business owners have had some experience of a poorly run IT project. And the overriding impression I get with brand new prospects is a bit like the sort of car salesman thing. Cross, here we go, another software salesperson. Right, what pipe dream are they going to sell me this time, and how much is it going to set me back? Too good to be true, and all this stuff. And there's a bit of a challenge to overcome there. But once they realise what we can do, and because we can prove it to them so quickly, there is that light bulb moment, and then they do buy into it. Now, that's not to say that every project we roll out is 100% successful. We've had some great projects that have been fantastically successful, and we've had some that haven't been and have been a challenge. And we're still faced with the same project challenges that any other IT company that does this.
Software companies particularly. IT's a broad...
software companies. Yeah, so... we still have to achieve the same things as those guys, in that we need that key stakeholder buy-in. We need people engaged at the ground floor with these things. We need good project management from their side and our side. We need resource allocation from their side and our side. And our side is less of a problem because it's what we do, but certainly from the customer side. It is a bit of a challenge at times, but we're good at what we do, and we normally overcome those challenges. And I think that we see a lot of progress with customers. We've got customers who've started off as small projects, small customers, grown into big customers, grown into partners, and that's just testament to what we can do. It's good to see.
Yeah, in fact, we had a partner podcast from a company in Aberdeen a little while ago, and their understanding of our technology and embedding it in their business processes and their customer solutions has been a light bulb moment for them as well. So I guess not just customers but partners as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah. Well, do you have anything you want to ask me?
Yeah.
That's a scary question. Do you want to ask me something?
Well, you asked me about where, am I excited about the future? I guess I could ask you the same question. You're the figurehead. You're the guy at the top. Are you excited about where the company's going? And where do you see that roadmap?
Yeah, certainly am. I think we're only getting better and better and stronger all the time. I think we're growing in terms of headcount. We're growing in terms of turnover and customer footprint. So we've historically grown through direct sales. We recently appointed a partner development manager, so we have a partner strategy in place, and I think that will deliver significant revenue to us, as well as the direct sales. We have a plan to go international. That plan should have been put into place a couple of years ago, but because of the pandemic, it more or less got stalled. So I think the next 3 or 4 years will be another period of step change for Excelpoint. Not only will that grow Excelpoint, but as you alluded to earlier, it will grow the people in Excelpoint as well. I'm a big believer in promoting from within, challenging people to challenge themselves. Clearly, not everybody can always step up their game to the next level and the next level and the next level. It's only human nature to reach that ceiling at some point. So I wouldn't say we'd never recruit in, more experienced people. We do that as well. First opportunity though, grow the people within the business. So grow the business, grow the people within the business. And if our non-executive director was here, he'd say, grow the business owner as well. So yeah, I think it's all round a very positive culture.
Well, every day is a school day, you never stop learning.
Absolutely. And I'm at the upper end of the upper band. The
upper young person.
Don't dare say it. Yeah. So it's been a pleasure having you in. It's been a pleasure to have an internal perspective, a look at the world from within Excelpoint, not just. And by the way, for the audience, he could say anything he wanted and ask anything he wanted. I'll pay you later. I think a different podcast this time, and it was refreshing.
Good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for that.